We just showed how to derive a solution for the steady-state capital stock. And if you go back to the previous slides, where you have all of the equations for the model, what you'll see is that once you have the steady-state capital, you can get steady-state values for all the other variables. So, for example, output is just going to be total factor productivity times steady-state capital raised to that production parameter alpha. Steady-state savings is just equal to steady-state investment, but that's just a constant fraction s of steady-state output. And then what you don't save, you consume. So steady-state consumption is just 1 minus s times steady-state income or output. I will turn soon to, in the next slide, video, to a numerical example where we create a spreadsheet to show you the dynamics. But if you were to plug in parameter values for alpha n, the savings rate s, the depreciation rate delta, and for TFP, out would pop these numbers. Now it's also clear how variations in the parameters of the model will affect steady-state capital. So if the savings rate goes up, then people are going to be setting aside a bigger fraction of their income for savings, and therefore there'll be more investment, and therefore you'll have a higher capital stock. Similarly, if TFP is higher, well then capital is going to be more productive. The incentive to accumulate capital will be greater, and therefore the steady-state capital stock will rise. On the other hand, a higher population growth rate or higher depreciation rate will lower the capital stock. And if the parameter alpha increases, that tells you something about the productivity of capital. In that case, the steady-state capital stock will rise. So what we'll do now is we'll turn to a spreadsheet. We'll calculate time paths. Well, first we'll calculate steady-state values for these variables. Then we'll calculate time paths. And ultimately we'll also compute growth rates, say for output. And what we'll show you is that in the long run, meaning in the steady state, there will not be any growth in per capita GDP, the Y. Remember, little y is per capita GDP. There'll be no growth in that unless total factor productivity is rising.